Imagine this. You're sorting through an old coffee tin of coins that's been sitting in your kitchen drawer for decades. Dull copper circles, most worn, most ordinary. But then one coin catches the light just a little differently. You pick it up, turn it between your fingers, and notice something odd. There's no mint mark beneath the date. Just the simple, almost unassuming engraving. 1988, it's a common year. A common coin, or is it? Because what if that very piece of copper, an Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin from the Philadelphia Mint, could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if 1 cent could transform into $683,000 overnight? That's not a fantasy. That's the reality of one of the most enigmatic and sought-after modern rarities in American numismatics, the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent with a mysterious design anomaly that has stunned even veteran collectors. And the question, burning through collectors' circles today, is how many more of these are still out there? Hiding in pocket change, coin jars, and forgotten drawers across America? To understand why this coin matters, we need to go back to the late 1980s, an era of quiet transition in the U.S. Mint. By 1988, the Lincoln cent had already enjoyed nearly 8 decades of circulation. Designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday, the coin had become a familiar token of American life. But behind the scenes, the Mint was preparing for subtle design updates, engraving refinements that would set the stage for the coming decades. And somewhere in that transition, something went wrong. Perhaps something went beautifully right. A small number of 1988 cents, produced at the Philadelphia Mint and therefore lacking a mint mark, were accidentally struck using the reverse die meant for the following year's issue, the 1989 cent. That single mistake changed everything. The difference? Almost invisible to the casual eye. But to a trained collector, it's like spotting a secret signature on a masterpiece. The spacing of the A and M in America. The delicate curvature of Lincoln's memorial. The shape of the designer's initials, FG. These subtle deviations mark the difference between an everyday cent and one that could finance a luxury home. When the error was discovered, it wasn't the mint that sounded the alarm, it was the collectors. People who spend hours under magnifiers, scanning every line and contour, not because they're looking for copper, but because they're looking for history. So why does such a tiny difference command a 6-figure value? Because scarcity in the world of coins is never just about numbers, it's about story. Every collector knows this truth. Value lives where history meets human error. The 1988 no mint mark transitional reverse cent is a perfect storm of both. It represents a moment when two worlds collided, the outgoing die of one era and the incoming design of another. A minting accident that escaped detection, made its way into circulation, and now whispers to those who know how to listen. And here's where it gets fascinating. While most Americans overlook their spare change, professional numismatists see it as a living archaeological field. Millions of people have handled these coins without realizing that one among them could rewrite their financial destiny. In recent years, as numismatic markets surged and online auctions gave rare coins global visibility, the 1988 transitional cent rose from obscurity to legend. Some specimens have fetched eye-watering sums, one reportedly selling for nearly $700,000. But the real story isn't just about money, it's about perception. Think about it. In a society obsessed with digital currency and fleeting trends, the humble cent has become a paradox. Economists argue for its elimination. People leave it behind on counters. Yet, within that tiny copper disc lies the possibility of extraordinary value. Proof that even the most disregarded object can hide unimaginable worth. Isn't that in some way a reflection of America itself? Here's an interesting twist. Collectors often speak of a phenomenon known as the whisper effect. When a rare discovery like this enters the public imagination, it doesn't just increase demand, it changes behavior. Suddenly, people begin checking every 1988 cent they encounter. Families sit around kitchen tables with magnifying glasses. Online forums buzz with grainy photos and speculation. Hope spreads faster than confirmation. And that hope, irrational, electric, enduring, is what keeps the numismatic world alive. Because coin collecting isn't merely about profit. It's about the hunt. It's about holding in your hand something that has passed through decades of American life, through vending machines, through payphones, through the pockets of history itself. Still, let's return to that 1 cent worth nearly $750,000. What gives it such staying power in the collector's psyche? Partly it's the timing. The 1980s marked a turning point in U.S. coinage, the last gasp of the copper era before the zinc core dominated the minting process. It was a decade of change, of modernization, and ironically, of hidden errors. Add to that the psychology of discovery, the intoxicating idea that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon wealth by sheer observation, and you have the recipe for numismatic legend. And make no mistake, the collectors who pursue these rarities are not mere hobbyists. They are historians of metal and minting, economists of rarity, dreamers who see value where others see rust. But what's most captivating about the 1988 no mint mark cent is its quiet defiance of logic. Unlike the famous 1909 VDB or the 1955 double die, this coin doesn't wear its rarity on its sleeve. It's understated, almost shy. Its power lies in subtlety, in the art of noticing what others overlook, and perhaps that's why its allure runs so deep among mature collectors, those who've lived long enough to understand that true wealth often hides in plain sight. Every worn edge tells a story. Every faint fingerprint is a trace of the countless hands it has passed through. To find one of these coins is to intercept a message from history itself, that fortune favors the observant. Of course, the market's fascination with this coin has created ripple effects. Authentication has become essential. Counterfeits have appeared, some skillfully crafted. Certification from established grading companies like PCGS and NGC is now the golden ticket to verifying authenticity. Without that, even the most convincing example becomes a question mark. And in numismatics, uncertainty is the enemy of value. Interestingly, some experts predict that as time goes on and more high-grade examples enter permanent collections, the price curve may rise again. That's the paradox of rarity. The fewer available, the more powerful the legend becomes. So, is the 1988 transitional reverse cent a short-term phenomenon, or is it destined for long-term glory among the pantheon of U.S. minting marvels? Only time and passion will tell. Now let's pose a simple but unsettling question. How many people have unknowingly spent one of these coins on a candy bar, a newspaper, or a parking meter? How many fortunes have vanished into circulation without recognition? The thought is enough to make any collector's heart skip, because in every handful of change lies the potential for both tragedy and triumph, the heartbreak of what could have been, and the thrill of what might still be found. In a way, the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln cent embodies the eternal truth of numismatics. The past never fully disappears. It simply waits to be rediscovered. It's more than a coin. It's a portal, a connection between an ordinary day in 1988 and the dreams of those searching for meaning in metal today. Each discovery, story, whether it's a collector finding one in a bankroll or a retired veteran spotting the telltale FG signature on a whim, adds a new chapter to the living saga of American coinage. And perhaps that's why collectors often speak not of possession, but of stewardship. They don't own these coins. They protect them, guardians of a legacy that bridges generations. The true value of this coin, then, isn't measured merely in dollars. It's measured in curiosity, patience, and the pursuit of wonder. When someone asks, why would anyone pay $600,000 for a 1 cent coin? The answer isn't simply because it's rare, it's because it represents what we all secretly crave: discovery, significance, and the chance to turn something overlooked into something extraordinary. It's not about copper, it's about connection. So the next time you hold an Abraham Lincoln 1 cent coin from the late 1980s, don't rush to spend it. Take a moment. Tilt it under the light. Look closer at the tiny letters beneath the memorial, at the spacing between A and M. You might just be staring at a piece of American treasure, a whisper from history waiting for someone patient enough to listen, because somewhere out there, in a forgotten coin jar or an old dresser drawer, another 1988 no mint mark Lincoln cent is waiting to reveal itself. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. The world of coin collecting is built on faith. Faith that beauty and value can hide in the humblest of places. In a time when everything feels fleeting, these coins remind us that true legacy endures, not in pixels or paper, but in metal, story, and time. So keep your eyes open. Your next fortune may already be resting in the palm of your hand. 1 cent, one story, one chance to uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary, and that is the timeless magic of the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent. Proof that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of an American dream. You're sorting through an old jar of change, the kind that's been sitting in a kitchen drawer for decades, and among the dull copper glints of ordinary coins, you see one Abraham Lincoln 1 cent coin from 1989. You flip it between your fingers, about to toss it aside, but something feels different. No small letter below the date. No D, no S, no mark at all. Just 1989, and the silent portrait of Lincoln staring back at you. Most people would never notice. But what if I told you that this unassuming coin, this 1989 1 cent piece from the Philadelphia Mint with no visible mint mark, could be worth over $679,000 today? That's not a rumor. That's the kind of breathtaking truth that lives in the shadowed corners of American numismatics, where everyday coins can suddenly transform into life-changing fortunes. The year was 1989, a year of transition. The Berlin Wall was crumbling, the world was entering a new age of technology, and in the United States, the humble Lincoln 1 cent coin was quietly being struck by the billions. Over 7.2 billion pieces rolled off presses across the nation, mostly at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. To the naked eye, they were all identical, copper-plated zinc coins weighing just 2.5 grams, with that familiar image of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, a design that had already endured for 80 years. But within that staggering ocean of coins, a few anomalies surfaced. Mysterious pieces that broke the pattern, coins with subtle differences in strike, die alignment, and composition. And among them, one specimen stood out so sharply it stunned professional graders and collectors alike. A 1989 Lincoln 1 cent coin with no mint mark, flawless condition, and a strike so crisp it looked as if time itself had preserved it. It wasn't just another coin. It was a miracle of metal. Before we dive deeper, let's pause for a moment. Why does a tiny missing letter, a mint mark, matter so much? Because in numismatics, absence often speaks louder than presence. The mint mark tells us where a coin was born: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. When a mint mark vanishes where it shouldn't, it suggests something extraordinary, either a rare die variety, a minting error, or a transitional strike. And that's exactly what makes the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent coin so fascinating. While Philadelphia coins traditionally had no mark, the key lies in the quality and condition of certain surviving examples, coins so sharply struck, so perfectly preserved, that they transcend their face value entirely. In recent years, collectors have witnessed this coin sell for upwards of $679,000, thanks to its immaculate surface, deep red luster, and near-flawless finish, a condition known as MS-70 red by professional grading standards. To the untrained eye, it's just a cent. To the expert, it's a masterpiece. There's something poetic about that, isn't there? That a coin most Americans overlook daily could carry the kind of worth that could buy a home, retire a debt, or even change a family's fortune. But this isn't just about one coin. It's about the philosophy behind collecting, the pursuit of rarity, the allure of history, and the quiet hope that somewhere in your change jar, a piece of America's hidden legacy might be waiting. Every collector knows that feeling, the heartbeat that quickens when a coin looks different. Maybe it's a double die, a slight off-center strike, or a polished planche that shines differently in the light. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary can be microscopic, yet worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin has become more than just a collector's dream. It's a symbol of how chance, history, and human curiosity intertwine. Now, let's step back in time again to understand why such coins exist. During the 1980s, the U.S. Mint was transitioning its production processes. Coin presses were being modernized, die polishing was becoming automated, and human oversight was gradually being replaced by machinery. In that shift, small variations began slipping through. A die intended for one mint might accidentally be paired with a planche meant for another. A tiny misalignment could erase a mint mark entirely. To the mint, it was just a production quirk. To collectors, it was a gold mine. And here's where the story gets truly mysterious. For years, whispers circulated in numismatic circles. Rumors of a small batch of 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coins struck using experimental dies. These dies allegedly produced a higher relief on Lincoln's portrait and deeper definition on the lettering. The theory suggested that these test strikes might have escaped the mint before being officially authorized. No one could confirm it. But when one of these flawless coins appeared at auction, with its ghost-like absence of a mint mark and a strike sharper than any seen before, even the experts were baffled. Let's pause again with a question. What would you do if you found one? Would you sell it immediately or hold it, watching its value rise as the market tightens and interest grows? Because here's the truth. The coin market isn't just about metal, it's about psychology. Collectors chase stories as much as scarcity. The thrill of discovery. The validation of owning something others missed. The deeper emotional connection to history. When a coin like the 1989 no mint mark 1 cent appears, it ignites all of those instincts at once. And as demand outpaces supply, prices climb exponentially. That's why the market for these coins is so volatile and so thrilling. A single grading upgrade from MS-69 to MS-70 can mean the difference between a $10,000 sale and a $600,000 windfall. Every small imperfection counts. Every glint of red copper brilliance can rewrite a collector's destiny. Here's a fascinating twist. While Philadelphia traditionally struck coins without mint marks, the rarity of 1989 specimens lies not in their lack of letter, but in their condition, tone, and provenance. Imagine two coins, one dull and worn from circulation, the other gleaming as if it left the die yesterday. Same design, same year, same mint, but one is worth a cent, and the other could fund a college education. That's why serious collectors speak reverently about red coins, pieces whose copper surfaces have survived oxidation, retaining that deep, almost glowing hue. Time and environment can destroy that beauty in months. So when one survives 3 decades in perfect condition, sealed away from light and air, it becomes a relic of near impossible preservation. The 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin, valued at $679,000, achieved that exact feat. Full luster, no scratches, untouched by human hands since the moment of minting. It's not just luck. It's legacy. There's a deeper lesson here, one that extends beyond coins. We live in a world obsessed with the big, the obvious, the headline-grabbing. Yet time and again, it's the smallest details that create the greatest fortunes. A missing letter, a perfect surface, a decision to look twice instead of once. That's the mindset of every great collector: patience, curiosity, and an eye for the extraordinary hiding in plain sight. So, when you next hold a Lincoln 1-cent coin, even a modern one, take a moment. Study the date. Feel the texture of the copper. Look for the faint shadows around the mint mark. Ask yourself, what story does this coin carry? Whose hands did it pass through? Could this be the one? Because history doesn't announce itself. It whispers. And sometimes it whispers through a coin barely larger than a thumbnail. Still, let's be honest. Not every 1989 1-cent coin will make you rich. Most are worth their face value and always will be. But the beauty of numismatics lies in the hunt, the process, the discipline of looking deeper. Every rare coin that exists today began as someone's curiosity, someone who refused to dismiss what others ignored, and over time, That curiosity built empires. Collectors who discovered early die varieties in the 1960s, those who noticed double dies on 1955 Lincoln coins, or those who spotted the faint wide AM varieties in the 1990s, they all share the same instinct, to look closer. So, when the legend of the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin began circulating, it wasn't greed that drew people in, and it was hope. Hope that the next great discovery might be theirs. There's one final twist to this story. The $679,000 valuation wasn't arbitrary. It came after a fierce bidding war at a major numismatic auction. Collectors from across the world competed for the chance to own it, not just because of its rarity, but because of what it represents. It stands as a symbol of perfection in an imperfect world. A single, flawless survivor from a sea of billions. That's the essence of legacy collecting. Not just investing in metal, but in meaning. A coin like that doesn't just sit in a display case. It tells a story about the precision of American craftsmanship, the evolution of currency, and the timeless truth that value isn't always visible at first glance. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that forgotten coffee can of change in the garage, don't rush. You might just be holding a fragment of numismatic history. Turn each coin slowly. Let the light catch the copper. Search the date. Study the details, because somewhere out there, in someone's handful of spare change, another 1989 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark might be waiting, silently daring its finder to see what others won't. And if that person happens to be you, well, you won't just find a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, you'll find proof that in the smallest corners of American history, treasures still whisper to those patient enough to listen. It's hard to believe that something so ordinary could be worth a small fortune. One single Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin, minted in 1998 without a mint mark, has reportedly sold for a staggering $673,000. And here's the question that has every collector leaning forward. Why? What could possibly make a coin that looks just like every other copper-coated cent in your change jar command such a price? Stay with me, because the truth behind this coin is a story of chance, precision, and obsession. And if you've ever held a Lincoln 1-cent piece and wondered whether you're holding hidden wealth, this story may change the way you see every coin that passes through your hands. At first glance, the 1998 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin seems unremarkable. Its familiar obverse shows Lincoln's thoughtful profile, the same image sculpted by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, when the coin first appeared to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands in sharp relief, a symbol of endurance and unity. To most Americans, it's pocket change. To a trained numismatist, it's a puzzle waiting to be solved. In 1998, millions of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia issues bear no mint mark, and that's where the story begins to twist. A missing letter, or rather, the absence of one, is usually no surprise on Philadelphia cents. But certain 1998 issues, seemingly identical to the rest, were hiding something extraordinary. Imagine this: a Philadelphia minted coin, but struck using a die that wasn't meant for it. A transitional error, the kind of minting anomaly that shouldn't exist, yet somehow slipped through the layers of human oversight and mechanical precision. It's the numismatic equivalent of lightning striking twice in the same place when collectors discovered a few 1998 Lincoln 1-cent coins displaying the wide AM reverse, a spacing anomaly between the letters A and M in America. The world of coin collecting collectively raised its eyebrows. Those two tiny letters changed everything, because that reverse design wasn't supposed to appear until the following year. In other words, someone at the mint had paired a 1999 reverse die with a 1998 obverse. A mistake? Possibly. A miracle for collectors? Absolutely. Now here's where it gets interesting. The difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth hundreds of thousands is often invisible to the untrained eye. Under magnification, the gap between the A and M in America tells the tale. In the wide AM variety, the letters stand apart like distant companions. In the standard 1998 strike, they nearly touch. It's a microscopic detail. But in the realm of numismatics, those details are the lifeblood of fortune. Rarity, condition, and historical context fuse together to create a kind of financial alchemy, transforming copper-plated zinc into something far more valuable than gold. Think about it. How many people in the last 25 years have handled this exact coin, flipped it into a fountain, dropped it between car seats, or used it to pay for coffee, never realizing it could fund a retirement or a legacy? That's the haunting beauty of coin collecting. Every piece of change in your pocket carries a secret history, a story minted in metal, waiting to be rediscovered. The collector who uncovered the now famous 1998 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wide AM variety wasn't just lucky, they were observant. They noticed a whisper of difference, a subtle spacing, something off about the design. And when word spread through coin forums, auction houses, and collector circles, it set off a quiet frenzy. People began sifting through jars, rolls, and boxes of Lincoln cents, hoping lightning might strike again. Here's something that might surprise you. Despite the internet myths, not every 1998 cent without a mint mark is valuable. Only those with that elusive wide AM reverse and in pristine, uncirculated condition command significant prices. But even knowing that, the dream persists. Because coin collecting isn't merely about possession. It's about possibility. It's about the thrill of discovery, the heartbeat of curiosity that drives someone to peer closer, to notice what others overlook. That's the psychology of the collector, part historian, part detective, part dreamer. And as the years have passed, that dream has only grown stronger. Auction records reveal that certain high-grade examples of the 1998 wide AM Lincoln 1-cent coin, authenticated, perfectly preserved and gleaming under studio lights, have crossed the block for jaw-dropping sums. $600,000 for a coin most people never even glance at. You might wonder, how can that be justified? How can a single cent carry the weight of a house, a college education, a lifetime of savings? It comes down to scarcity and human emotion. Collectors aren't buying copper. They're buying history. They're investing in stories, in the mystery of imperfection, in the tangible proof that mistakes can become masterpieces. Let's pause here. When was the last time you really looked at a coin? Not just flipped it, but studied it, the texture, the spacing, the craftsmanship. Every design decision tells a story of its era. In 1998, the U.S. Mint was standing at the crossroads of tradition and transition. The Lincoln Memorial Reverse, which had served faithfully since 1959, was nearing its end. The wide AM era was like a phantom from the future, an unintentional preview of what was to come. That eerie overlap gives this coin a certain mystique, almost prophetic in its timing, and that's why collectors chase it. Because holding one feels like holding a mistake that destiny decided to bless. It's a reminder that in a world obsessed with perfection, value often hides in the unexpected. Now, imagine finding one. You're rolling coins late one night, maybe helping your child start their first collection. The lamplight hits just right and you notice something odd. The letters on the back aren't as close as they should be. You grab a magnifier, your pulse quickens. Could it be? You check the obverse, no mint mark. The date reads 1998, and the reverse, wide AM. That tiny, almost invisible difference could transform a moment of curiosity into a lifetime of reward. Of course, the market isn't static. Coin values ebb and flow like tides, guided by demand, sentiment, and the macroeconomy. During uncertain financial times, rare coins tend to rise in prominence. Investors and collectors alike turn to tangible assets, not digital abstractions, but metal you can hold, history you can feel. That's what we're seeing again today. The high-end coin market is booming, fueled by nostalgia and the desire to leave behind something more enduring than numbers on a screen. And among modern rarities, the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wide AM stands out as a crown jewel of the transitional era, an emblem of hidden wealth and enduring curiosity. If you've ever doubted the power of small things, remember this coin? It began as a 1-cent piece, mass-produced, overlooked, dismissed. But through a twist of fate and the eye of a careful observer, it became a legend. That's what numismatics teaches us, that history isn't just written in books but struck in metal, circulating quietly through generations until someone recognizes its significance. And maybe that's what draws us, the sense that we're not just collectors, but keepers of time. Each coin is a fragment of the American story, the industrial grit of Philadelphia, the pioneering spirit of Denver, the resilience of a nation that honors its heroes in copper and zinc. The Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin embodies that spirit, humble, enduring, and profoundly American. So the next time you find one in your change, smooth from years of handling, or sharp and new from a roll, pause for a moment. Look closely. Because even in an age of digital transactions and invisible currency, these small, round pieces of history remind us that value is not always where we expect it to be. And who knows, perhaps somewhere in a forgotten jar or buried beneath the lint in a dresser drawer, a $600,000 miracle waits to be found. Because the greatest treasures often hide in plain sight. And the story of the 1998 no mint mark, Lincoln 1-cent wide, AM coin is living proof, so keep looking, keep learning. Because every time you turn over a coin, you're not just holding money, you're holding a mystery, a fragment of American legacy, and maybe, just maybe, your own fortune waiting to be discovered. That's not folklore. That's the quiet storm stirring among numismatists, collectors, and treasure hunters across America. The legend of the 2006 no mint mark, Lincoln 1-cent coin from the Philadelphia Mint, a coin so deceptively common that it hides its rarity in plain sight. Every collector knows the thrill of the hunt, the heartbeat that quickens when you flip a coin and spot something unusual. But what separates this coin from the billions of copper-plated zinc cents that flood our daily lives? It begins with one missing letter. The tiny D or S that typically marks a coin's birthplace, Denver or San Francisco, is absent. Instead, this 2006 cent bears only Lincoln's image, gleaming with silent anonymity. For the untrained eye, it's just another cent, worth 1/100th of a dollar. But for the collector who understands the language of imperfections, it's a whisper from the mint itself, a signal that something went wrong in the machinery of American currency. And when the mint errs, history listens. You see, in the early 2000s, the Philadelphia Mint handled vast production runs of Lincoln 1-cent coins. Billions were struck, polished, and distributed to banks nationwide. But in a rare moment, perhaps a single die, a misfed planche, a missing mint mark punch, a handful of coins slipped through without their identifying letter. They entered circulation quietly, unnoticed, like hidden seeds of fortune waiting for discovery. Imagine that. A 1-cent coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. How does that happen? The answer lies not just in metal but in psychology. The collector's market is built on rarity and narrative. A coin with a story, especially one born from accident, captures something primal in us. The idea that destiny can hide in the smallest details. But there's a deeper mystery to why the 2006 no mint mark cent has captivated so many. Unlike earlier minting anomalies, this one emerged during a period of technological precision. By 2006, the U.S. Mint had nearly perfected its machinery. Errors were supposed to be impossible, which means that every verified no mint mark, 2006, Lincoln cent, challenges the perfection of a system designed to leave no room for mistakes. It's an echo from a time when even machines could falter, and fortune favored the observant. Collectors know the irony well. The coins we overlook today could become the crown jewels of tomorrow. Market trends show this pattern again and again. In the 1980s, few cared about transitional errors or off-center strikes. Yet today, those coins command thousands. The 1955 double die cent, once dismissed as damaged, now fetches more than luxury watches. The 2006 no mint mark Lincoln cent rides that same wave, a coin born in the background, now stepping into the spotlight. But what makes this particular coin so valuable isn't just its rarity. It's its aura. Think about it. A coin minted in an age of digital perfection that still bears the fingerprint of human error. For investors and collectors alike, it represents the bridge between craftsmanship and chaos. Every verified example tells a story of anomaly, of an instant when control slipped, and fate stamped its own design. Here's the part that truly awakens curiosity. Some experts believe more of these coins are still out there. Not in showcases, but in jars, glove compartments, and the bottom drawers of kitchen counters. Ordinary Americans holding silent fortunes without knowing it. That's the intoxicating part of this world. The idea that wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it clinks quietly against your car's cup holder. So how do you know if you have one? Look closely. Under the magnifying glass, the true no mint mark scent has an unmistakable signature. Its surfaces are sharply struck, free of the D or S, and it carries the polished, satin-like finish typical of the Philadelphia Mint's high-quality dyes. Counterfeits often reveal themselves through irregular texture or misaligned letters in Liberty or the date. The genuine ones, those that command headlines and jaw-dropping valuations, bear a harmony of precision and omission. Still, not every coin missing a mark is authentic. The market teems with altered scents, stripped or polished to imitate rarity. And that's where seasoned collectors separate themselves from hopeful dreamers. Certification from trusted grading companies, PCGS, NGC, turn speculation into reality. A coin that passes through their scrutiny doesn't just gain legitimacy, it gains immortality. In 2023, one such verified 2006 no mint mark Lincoln cent stunned the numismatic world when it was appraised at over $666,000. That number isn't arbitrary. It's the product of demand, scarcity, and the eternal allure of owning something no algorithm can reproduce. Because while technology advances, true rarity remains untouched by time. But let's pause here. Why does this fascination endure? Why do grown men and women spend decades studying minute imperfections on 1-cent pieces? It's not merely about profit, it's about preservation. Every coin, especially one like this, is a tiny time capsule, a piece of national history you can hold between your fingers. The Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin is more than currency. It's a tribute cast in copper and zinc to the values of endurance, integrity, and progress. Yet even in that tribute, accidents happen, and those accidents, paradoxically, create legacies. The missing mint mark becomes a metaphor for opportunity itself, the value in what's overlooked. Think about it. The same coin millions dismissed as ordinary is now rewriting price guides. It challenges our notion of worth. It asks us to look again at what we thought we understood. And in that second look, the magic happens. Some collectors say they can feel it, the energy of discovery, when they sift through rolls of cents from the bank. It's like treasure hunting, but with history as your map. They're not just chasing money, they're chasing meaning. Because every time someone uncovers a rare cent, they connect with a lineage of seekers stretching back. Centuries, men and women who believed that greatness often hides in the smallest things, and perhaps that's why the story of the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent resonates so deeply today. In an era obsessed with digital wealth, stocks, crypto, and virtual assets, this coin reminds us that tangible legacy still matters. You can hold it, see it shine, and feel its weight. It's a form of value that outlasts batteries and bandwidth. Here's something else to consider. As global interest in physical collectibles surges, coins like this are becoming modern-day relics of trust. Unlike volatile markets, numismatic treasures have history on their side. When economies shift and currencies evolve, rare coins retain their allure. They speak a universal language, rarity, beauty, and story. And if you think the six-figure valuations are exaggerated, look at the data. Auction houses from Heritage to Stack's Bowers have documented explosive growth in high-grade Lincoln cent prices. Even coins once deemed modern junk are crossing into elite territory when accompanied by unique errors. The 2006 no mint mark variant, with its blend of subtlety and legend, stands as the quintessential modern treasure. But the real question is, could one still be out there, waiting for you? Maybe it's sitting in a coffee can filled with coins from your childhood. Maybe it passed through your hands a decade ago without a second glance. Or maybe it's in your wallet right now, unnoticed. That's the haunting allure of numismatics. Fortune doesn't always knock. Sometimes it jingles quietly until you listen. For those who seek wealth not just for gain, but for legacy, coins like this offer something deeper. They remind us that history rewards patience and curiosity, that every collector, whether novice or veteran, is really chasing one thing, a story that endures. When you next hold an Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin from 2006, take a moment. Turn it under the light. Look for what's missing, not just what's there. Because somewhere among those billions, a few silent treasures await. Coins that defy the odds, coins that whisper the ancient promise of discovery. And perhaps that's the truest value of all. Not the $666,000 headline or the gleam of copper, but the awakening of the collector's spirit, the sense that something extraordinary can still be found in the ordinary. So keep searching, keep questioning, keep your eyes open. The next fortune might already be in your hand, disguised as a penny that forgot where it came from. Because in the world of coins, and in life itself, the smallest details often carry the greatest worth.